Today we're going to be figuring out every character's best card in Unmatched. Alright, let's go. King Arthur. First thing you think of when you hear King Arthur is probably Excalibur. And in Unmatched, yeah, that's his best card. It's a 6 value attack, 3 boost. There's not much more to say. Now Medusa. Medusa's a great character, which means she's obviously going to have a lot of good cards. She has Hiss and Slither, which is really good. Second Shot, which is really good. But in my opinion, her best card has got to be Gaze of Stone. Gaze of Stone, as long as you have one that you haven't played, your opponent always has to defend every attack you throw out. If they don't end up defending an attack, they might just get hit for 10 damage. It's also a 4 boost. Makes it great for Second Shot in your deck, as well as just moving even more than you already move as a move 3 fighter. Sinbad. Sinbad is obviously all about his voyages. But since I have to pick one, it would probably be Voyage Home. It's the only one you can boost, which makes it more versatile than the other voyage cards. It also lets you bring your other ones back. Just lets you reuse all your other voyages. So, yeah. Now, Alice has a lot of pretty good cards, especially if you're big, they get even better, or small. But in my opinion, her best card is probably Looking Glass. I mean, it's only a 2 value defense. When you're small, it's 3, which is pretty good. And then the effects are crazy, and you gotta choose 2 effects. Healing 3 that's a lot of healing. And moving anywhere, that's really good. Drawing 2 cards is but sometimes you just need cards. And it's just a great card. Alright, Robin Hood. Now Robin Hood's best card isn't even a Robin Hood card. It's Highway Robbery for the Outlaws. I mean, if your opponent plays a defense card that's not a feint, you just ignore their card. It's just useless. And if they don't play a card, well, then they're just taking 2 damage. I mean, it's free damage.
It's free real estate.
Bigfoot. Well, Bigfoot, just like Medusa, is a really good fighter. I mean, he's got a lot of good cards. But it's probably just got to be larger than life. I know, it's pretty boring. It's pretty much just Excalibur. But I mean, it's a 6 value attack. It's his best card. Bruce Lee. Yeah, well, let's be honest, Bruce Lee is all about the Jeets. Yeah, it's a lot of Jeets with different names. Hard to remember the names. Whichever the Jeet that makes them discard a random card. That's it. Beowulf. Now, Beowulf's a hard one. He's got a lot of good cards. He's got Ancient Heirloom. He's got Equal of Grendel. In my opinion, his best card has probably got to be, I think it's War King. I know some people might be saying Equal of Grendel. No, it's Ancient Heirloom. It's one of those two. Well, one's an attack only. One's a defense only. I think War King is the most versatile. It can be a 7. I mean, Ancient Heirloom can be an 8 at the most. That's spending all your rage. And the War King, you spend all your rage, and it's only a 7. It's only 1 less. It's not that bad of an attack. And you can also use it on defense, up to a 7 defense. It's his best card. Little Red. Alright. Little Red's cards are a little tricky. Because you have to have the right cards in the basket for them to actually work. Unless you use Never Leave the Path, because that's very versatile. No matter what you have in the basket, it's always going to give you an effect. But I wouldn't say that's her best card. In my opinion, Stones in the Belly. That's my favorite card. With Stones in the Belly, you're always guaranteed, unless they feint it, or unless it's Sinbad, you're always guaranteed at least a 3 value versatile. Most of the time it's a 4. On average it's a 4, and then sometimes you get a 5 or even a 6. Yeah, it's just a very great card. You also make your opponent lose a random card from their hand. I mean, that's always a good thing. Yeah, the Raptors. Alright, so the Raptors, it's tough. They got a lot of cards that gave them actions. They got some big cards. They have some cards for defense. Not a lot. But in my opinion, their best card is Working Things Out. Scheme card. Just lets you rearrange your fighters however you want. Gives you an action so you don't lose anything from it. Can really help you get through 1 health sidekicks, or even any sidekicks for that matter. Anybody who's trying to hide behind a wall, meet shields. So yeah, that's Working Things Out. The Raptors. Muldoon. Call for backup. That's all I'm gonna say. Invisible Man. Well, he has a few good cards. He's got Surprise Attack, which is pretty good. But in my opinion, it's Vanish. You heal, you go off the board. If you do it at the right time, your opponent just has to either pick up twice, discard 2 cards, or they just do nothing. Play some schemes maybe as passes. That's all they can do. They can't do anything when you're off the board. Can't attack people who aren't there. Yeah. Oh, Dracula. The Drac Pack. Alright, well, Dracula, he's got one of the best defenses in the game and one of the best attacks in the game. So it's obviously going to be tough to decide, is it bidding or beast form? They're both really good. I think it's beast form. The reason is bidding is great, but there's ways to play around it. For example, if you attack with a sidekick and you only have 1 card in your hand that can be used by a sidekick, or you only have 1 attack card in your hand, then bidding is just looking at the opposing fighter's hand, and it's just a 3 value block. Beast form's a 6 by itself. Even if they feint it, stop the effects, it's still a 6. And if they don't, then you just discard. You can discard any number of cards in your hand and just ramp it up. It's just a really good card. They're both good cards, but Beast form's just slightly better. Jekyll and Hyde. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Well, I don't know if there's really a question about it. It's probably Duality of Man. I mean, you could argue Forever Hyde. It could be a massive attack. It can do some huge damage, but Duality of Man's one of your few any cards in your deck, which is great because otherwise sometimes you just get stuck in a certain form and you can't use your card. Duality of Man can be used as either, although if you're attacking, it's obviously better to use with Mr. Hyde. But even if you have to defend with Mr. Hyde, it's still a 3 versatile. And it's a 6 if you attack with Mr. Hyde, which is really good. It's not, Forever Hyde can still be more, but still a 6 is great. And then a 6 value defense with Dr. Jekyll. 6 value defense, you're not taking any damage. So yeah, it's probably one of the few any cards. It's also a 6 value depending on how you use it. It's a great card. Sherlock Holmes. Well, Sherlock is definitely infamous for his schemes, but I think his best card is probably Elementary. I mean, you have so much hand knowledge with Sherlock with your schemes and your study methods. A lot of the time you're just going to know what they have in their hand. And Elementary, you get a free guess. If you get it right, their card's just useless. It's just a blank card. It does nothing. And even if you get it wrong, it's still a 3 value defense, which is fine. In most cases, you can take maybe 1 damage as a 4 attack, maybe a little bit of damage if it's higher, but you can always pick the card that's best for the situation you're in. For example, Bigfoot might be throwing a log. You just say 6, even if it's not a 6, you're not going to be taking 3 damage at least because you know it can't be the log. So yeah, it's just such a good card. Yennega. Yennega's best card is Surprise Volley. You either can return an archer, which is like giving Yennega 2 extra health, or you can use it as to body block. You can also choose to gain action instead, which is great. With Yennega, she can gain quite a bit of actions to have some big combo turns. It's a very versatile card, can be used either defensively or offensively, and it's a great card. Bloody Mary. Well, Bloody Mary is all about getting 3 actions. If you start returning 3 cards, you get 3 actions. So her best card is Closer Than She Appears. It's a scheme that will guarantee give you a 3rd action It's your most consistent way of getting extra actions without having to rely on starting your turn with 3 cards. And it makes your other cards like speak 3 times so much better. Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong has so many good cards. He's got Golden Chainmail, Bewilderment, Phoenix Form, Ox Form, a lot of great cards. In my opinion, 72 Transformations is probably his best card. It's only a 2-value versatile, which isn't great. But you can play it with your clones on defense to either get Phoenix Form, Ox Form, or even Tortoise Form back into your hand. And playing it with a clone on defense, you don't risk taking any damage with Wukong, and you can just consistently get back some of your best cards in your deck. Achilles has a lot of great cards in his deck. It's hard to think of one that stands out above the rest, but I think it would have to be Under Achilles' Helm. It's only a 2-value block, but it guarantees Achilles taking no damage, and it puts Patroclus in the fight instead. If your opponent plays a big attack, you would do this, swap, Patroclus dies, and you get your ability, and then it's your turn, so you can pick up more cards to get your hand back after having to lose 2 cards. It's great for that. Or if they play a small attack, Patroclus just gets in the fight, and you can use your Patroclus cards to kill Patroclus off yourself and do some extra damage. It's a great card. It's also 4 boost. It helps you a lot with movement at the end in the end game. It's a great card. Houdini. Now Houdini, he's got a lot of cards that are good when you boost with them. Some cards like Set the Stage are really good. But his best card is probably Big Reveal. So Big Reveal lets you boost twice. Then you get it up to a 9 attack if you want, which is a great attack. It also lets you return one of the cards you boost with to your hand. So maybe you boost with something like Set the Stage. You boost with it, you get a look at their hand, choose card for you to discard, for them to discard, and then you return it to your hand to be able to use it again. Or use it with something like All Part of the Show to heal yourself and return it to your hand to let you heal again. It lets you use cards and your boost effects and then return them and use them again later. And it's your biggest attack you can have. It's just a great card. Genie. So the Genie's best card is the Wishes. It's obviously the Wishes. His whole deck revolves around those 3 cards. Use the Wish, you can make your opponent discard like their whole hand if you use them all. Make yourself draw 5 cards. Make your cards values 4. And all of them give you an action, so they're one of the best cards in the entire game. Yeah. Dr. Sattler's best card is obviously the Malcolm card. Everyone loves that card. No, her best card is Woman Who Inherited the Earth. It's immediately versatile. You play it on defense, you always draw the card and heal. Most of the time you're healing 5. If you're playing it right, you're healing 5 at least. Yeah, just a heal 5, draw card. It's a great card. T-Rex. T-Rex is a big, slow fighter. T-Rex's best card is When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth. 2 value, you can boost it, making it all the way up to a 6 value attack. If you win, you draw a card, gain an action. You take 2 damage, but that's not that big of a deal for you with 27 health. And you really like to keep drawing cards and gaining actions. So this card really helps you be aggressive. It's also a high boost value, so you can use it to either boost your movement, which you need high boost values for your movement, or you just use it to boost some of your other cards, or even this card, use it to boost itself. Yeah, it's just a great card. It's Marvel time. Alright, starting off with Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider's best card is his scheme, Hell Rides With Me. Gives you a lot of movement, lets you move opposing fighter as well. It gives you 2 Hellfire back, which is very good. And it also lets you gain an action, so just a great card. Very essential to your deck. Luke Cage. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh man, you picked Excalibur, and Larger Than Life, Beast Form, you're probably going to pick Sweet Christmas for Luke Cage. Well, that is where you would be wrong. No, Luke Cage's best card is Trash Talk. I mean, when you play with Luke Cage, it's a 4 value, cancel effect. And if the opposing fighter lost combat, just ends their turn. any kind of action gaining character, this just shuts them down. It shuts down characters even that don't gain action. It's one of the best defense cards in the game. Well, when you play with Luke Cage, that is. And yeah, such a good card. Moon Knight. So Moon Knight's best card is probably past and present intermingle. If you're using it to attack, it has great synergy with your schemes. Both schemes having 3 boosts and giving you actions. Meaning you can use the scheme and then get a 5 attack, or if you're Khonshu, it's a 7 attack. It's also great on defense. It's a guaranteed 3 value defense. With Mr. Knight, it's a guaranteed 4 value defense. And if you have anything that's not a 1 boost in your discard pile, then it's either a 4 or 5 defense, or with Mr. Knight, it's a 5 or 6 value defense. It's a great card. Very versatile. Very good card. Alright, next is Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl is not a very great character. She has some pretty good cards. She's got Network of Spies, which is really good. She's got some other really good cards like Squirmish. But her best card is probably Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. I mean, it's just a 4 value, cancel effects, ignore value. It's like a highway robbery, but versatile, and it's a 4 value. You do have to have 4 squirrels out, but I mean, that's most of Squirrel Girl's cards. So yeah. And Dagger. So Cloak and Dagger's best card is probably Commanding Impact. It's a 5 value, any. It's great for getting Dagger's ability off. It's also great for getting Cloak's ability. It's a good card for letting your characters use their abilities, making them discard cards or gain actions. You also draw a card. It's great for being aggressive, which Cloak and Dagger like to be very aggressive. So yeah. Alright, Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's a tough one, because a lot of her good cards, the other person can just play around them if they know what Miss Marvel can do. I think her best card is probably Embiggen. So Embiggen's a 6 if you're in more zones. So you might be thinking, oh yeah, but they can just stay in triple zones the whole time. You're never going to use it. That's true, but what you can do is you can set up situations where they have to be in less zones than you. Also, if you get good maps, this card becomes even better. But if you sit in a triple zone and make sure your 2 spaces beside you aren't triple zones, if they're a melee fighter, they're going to have to come attack you eventually. And then you get the Embiggen off, which is either a 6 value defense if they come attack you, or if they come to attack you and you defend something else, you can use it to attack with the 6. It's a versatile 3 even if you're not in more zones. Alright, Bullseye. So Bullseye's best card is Study the Target. It's your only scheme card, and it is essential for you to be able to play Bullseye very aggressively like he needs to be played. It lets you draw 3 cards, gain an action if you want combat. You only want to play it if you want combat unless you're very desperate. But it's such a good card. When you win combat and you play this, you draw 3, gain an action, lets you keep the tempo up, lets you keep the pressure on. Daredevil. So Daredevil, his best card is obviously going to be Devil of Hell's Kitchen. I mean, your whole playstyle revolves around that card. Kind of like Genie with the wishes. This card is essential in your deck. Lets you just keep lets you have lots of recursion, lets you keep cycling through cards. It's an essential card in your deck. Elektra. So Elektra has a lot of good cards. She's got Mesmerize, which can be great on your second life. She has all sorts of cards that get even stronger on her second life. But her best card, I think, is a card that doesn't need your second life for it to be activated. That's Snake Root Clan. No matter when you play it during the game, as long as you have at least 1 hand ninja alive, it's just an ultimate defense. You take nothing with Elektra, your hand ninja dies instead. And this card's always active. It's not just your second life you get it, you always have this available. It's such a great card. Alright, Black Widow. Black Widow, it's all about schemes. She's got a lot of schemes in her deck. All the missions you're trying to complete. So Black Widow's best card is probably Acting Director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Maria Hill card. It's a 4 value versatile that lets you move both your fighters 3 spaces through opposing fighters. That's already a great card. And then it lets you bring one of your mission schemes back from the discard pile back into your deck. So it's card recursion, it's movement, it's 4 value versatile. It's such a great card. Panther. So Black Panther wants to steal cards from your opponent, use those cards to boost. So tactical remote scanning, the Shuri scheme, is his best card. Lets you steal 2 off the top of their deck. They just can't do anything about it. It's also technically a pass, although Black Panther most of the time won't really want to play it to exhaustion, but it's just a great card. It seems to be a theme so far in King Country is sidekicks have better cards than the heroes. Winter Soldier. So the Winter Soldier is the one hero in King Country that doesn't have a sidekick with better cards, because he doesn't have a sidekick, because he's a loner. So yeah, Winter Soldier's best card is probably Complete the Mission. It's a great defense. You can either boost to make sure you take no damage or very little damage, or you can just leave it and let your opponent do damage to yourself and them. You have damage to, they take the damage as well. It's a great card. It's a solid defense, and Winter Soldier really needs good defense. Yeah. Spider-Man. Well, it's hard to choose the best card for Spider-Man because his deck kind of sucks. Ow. And you're probably thinking now, oh, then it's probably going to be Swing Kick because you picked Excalibur, you picked Large in Life, Beast Form. Well, guess what? You're right. Swing Kick. It's a 6 value attack. Lets you move the opposing fighter afterwards. It's great. Spider-Man's, it's one of his only attacks that are actually going to do damage. And yeah. Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange, his best cards is Rings of Radagast, Radagor, Rings of Ratatouille, Rings of Rata something. You know, it's an any 4 value attack. Lets you heal yourself for each damage you do to the opposing fighter, as well as the friendly fighter adjacent. So if you're just playing a normal game, you're just healing yourself and Wong if you're adjacent. If you're in a team game, you just, don't even get me started. She-Hulk. My least favorite character in the game. Character that should have never been invented. She's got so many good cards. She's got Lady Justice, which is just broken. She's got Savage She-Hulk, which is just broken. She's got Sensational, which is just broken. Got Double Jeopardy, which is kind of broken. But her best card is Omega Level Threat. And this card is broken. Should never been added into the game. Not on a character like this. 20 health. Start of every turn, you just get a do Medusa's ability, but you can do up to 3 damage instead of 1. You just have these 5 attacks that if you deal at least 2 damage, your opponent just has to discard 2 random cards. It's not just 2 cards, it's 2 random cards. You also got Lady Justice. You discard a card off the top of their deck. They don't even get to have a chance of using that card. You double its boost value. It's a guaranteed 2 value defense. Most of the time it's 4 value or 6 value defense. On a 20 health sidekick, you got 3 of those. It also pushes your opponent closer to exhaustion. Instead of Savage She-Hulk, which would just be a 9 value attack. It's not like it's hard to be beside someone with 2 actions either. Not when you have Leap Towards. So that other scheme, I don't even remember the name of it. That's how annoying it is. It means your opponent always has to stay away from starting spaces. It's a very frustrating character to play against. Alright, Annie Christmas. So Annie's best card, probably better together, having 4 copies of it, a 4 value defense that heals you and Charlie if you're adjacent. It can be a 6 value if used on attack and you have less health than the other fighter. Most time, even just playing as a 4 value defense that heals you and Charlie is kind of insane. The Golden Bat. Golden Bat's best card is Alpine Fortress. I mean, you shuffle a card back into your deck, you draw 2 cards, then you get to move up to 4 spaces. This doesn't count as a maneuver, so it activates Golden Bat's ability if you haven't already maneuvered before doing this. You draw 2 cards, which is great because the Golden Bat needs to keep drawing cards. It's his main way to draw cards. You also get a shuffle card back in, card recursion. You have 3 of these, so you can even shuffle in more Alpine Fortress and just keep getting back. It's a really good card. Nikola Tesla. So Tesla, his best card is X-ray radiation. The 4-value versatile by itself, and you gotta look at the top card of your opponent's deck. That's just its plain effects, which is already pretty good. It's a decent card. And then you can spend coals. If you spend 1 coal, you discard that card off the top of their deck. So you just get rid of it, they never have a chance to play it. And then if you spend 2 coals, you add that boost value to your card's value. So if it's like a 3 boost, or even a 2 boost, you can make this a 6 or a 7 value card. If you play that on when you're attacking with this card, just a big attack, and if your opponent throws out a massive attack on you and you play this on defense, you can discard their card to make you have like a 5, 6, or 7 value defense. All of those are insane. And if they throw a weak attack instead, you just look at their top card. You can discard if you want. You don't even have to add the boost value. Same with attacking. You attack with this card, they throw a massive defense or some sort of ultimate defense. You can discard the card or just leave it. You just don't have to add the boost value. It's great. Jill Trent. So Jill Trent has quite a few cards that are pretty good. Her best card is Battle of Wits. First off, it's a 4-value boost. So that's great for your ability with the Hypno-Ray Blaster. And if you don't use it for that ability, if you can't get it for the ability, you can still use it just for boosting your movement. Its effects are really good. If your opponent's boost value is lower than yours, then you just deal 3 damage to them. That's a lot of damage. This card's also only a 2-value attack. So with your ability for Hypno-Ray Blaster, most of the time, this is going to be able to activate the Hypno-Ray Blaster ability. And let's say they have a really big boost card on the top of their deck, then you're going to have a big attack. If they have a small boost card, then the chances are you're going to deal 3 damage to them with this card's ability, because your boost card will probably be higher. It's just a really great card. Tomoe Gozen. Well, Tomoe's best card is probably Skirmish. I know that's a card that's in a lot of different characters' decks, but with Tomoe it works better than in just about every other character's deck. With Tomoe, if you win combat, you gotta activate your ability most of the time. So most of the time, unless they're in the middle of a zone and you can't move them out of it in 2 moves, which I feel like isn't very likely. So most of the time with Skirmish, you're gonna be able to get your ability off. It's a 4-value versatile that after combat, if you won, you deal damage to the opposing fighter, which is quite good. And then you also get to move them. It's not just dealing damage, it moves them also. So you can set them up however you want for your turn if you're defending with it, or for their turn if you're attacking with it. It's a very good card, and it shines even more in Tomoe's deck. So that's why I think this is her best card. Oda Nobunaga. Oda's best card is probably Reinforce. So Reinforce is a scheme that lets you heal all friendly fighters, which just in a 1v1 that heals you and both your honor guards, which is great because you need to be able to keep your honor guards alive to be able to have any chance with Oda. You can also choose to draw 2 cards if you want to keep the pressure on, which Oda can do quite well if you can get him in a pin. And then gain an action is your last option. You gotta choose 2 of those. So either you can draw 2 cards, gain an action to just use it as purely to keep hand size up and keep aggression on. You can also use it to heal and gain an action, just as a little extra healing for all your fighters. You can also use it to heal and draw cards. You just need the cards and you need the healing. It's a very good card. You can use it in different ways. It's versatile, very versatile card. Alright, next up, let's talk about Buffy. Buffy's best card is Slayer Strength. It's obviously her best defense she has, but it's also versatile, so you don't have to use defense, you can use an offense. But most time on defense, it's just a really solid card. It's her best card in her deck, definitely. Alright, next is Spike. So Spike's obviously a really bad character, and a lot of his cards could be good if you ever got to use the effects on them. But unfortunately, most time with Spike, you just don't get to use his effects. So people just stay away from your shadow tokens and you can't do anything. So I would say, since you can't really use any of his effects, his best card would probably be something like Leap Boy, a solid card. But just for the sake of the video, I'm going to say what his best card is. Let's say, theoretically, if you could actually get them to land on some shadow tokens every once in a while. Which, I mean, you still can sometimes with Spike, so it's not like the cards instantly do nothing. But just most of the time, you won't get the effects off them. But if you could get the effects off, I'd say it's probably Let's Dance. It's 4 value versatile, which is great. If you're on shadow tokens, you can boost it, which can be either a massive defense or it can be a pretty big attack also. It's just his best card if shadow tokens are actually relevant, if your opponent actually plays Spike like you're playing any other character instead of just staying away from him. But if you're talking which card is actually probably the most useful for him, it's probably Leap Away. Willow. Willow's best card is actually probably a Terra card. It's probably Knowledge of the Craft. It's 4 value versatile. If you win combat, you can choose a different card from your discard pile, turn it to your hand. You can use that to keep cycling Knowledge of the Craft if you keep winning combat, or you can take back some other cards too. And since you can bring back Tara more than once, you can bring her back up to 2 times. So even if they kill her, you can keep bringing her back. It lets you be able to use this card quite often. And it's never like this card's gonna just go away because your sidekick dies, because you can keep bringing her back. So this is probably Willow's best card. Angel. Angel's hard to find his best card because all of his cards are kind of really bad. Like really, really bad. I have to say it's probably Cursed with the Soul. It's a 4 value attack, which is okay. If you lose combat, you recover health, which is good. So either you're going to deal some damage to them, or you're going to heal one. So it's kind of a win-win card. No matter what, you're okay because something's good to happen. Unless you're at full health, then don't use this card. Shakespeare. His best card's My Kingdom for a Horse. I mean, it's a 5 value attack. It's not just... The reason that it's his best card isn't just because it's a big attack. You gain 2 actions if you complete a line with it, which is insane. It's probably his best card to complete a line with. Either that or Horror. Those are his 2 best cards to complete a line with. But, I mean, it's just... Horror actually requires a little bit of setup. My Kingdom for a Horse, as long as there's 4 syllables in your line, you just play it, you gain 2 actions, they can't do anything to stop it. If they feint it, they just take it, it's just worse for them, they just take 3 damage. They just play a big block, whatever, they block it, but you gain 2 more actions, you can keep going. Yeah, it's insane. The Wayward Sisters. So the Wayward Sisters' best card is Something Wicked, This Way Comes, the Scheme card. It's just, it lets you cast any 2 spells. You don't need anything required to do it. You just cast 2 spells, which is great. You can draw a card, heal, deal damage to someone, move a fighter, or just gain an action. You gotta choose 2 of them. So if you want, you could just move a fighter 3 space to gain an action if you're just not quite close enough to get to someone. Or maybe their hero's hiding behind a wall of sidekicks. You can move them through their sidekicks out to the fight. You can also just use it to heal and draw cards, which is great for keeping hand size and keeping your sisters healthy. There's also, you can always do the choice of just, moving and doing a damage if you want to use it as a pass. Or you can just deal damage, gain an action. It's up to you. To be or not to be. That is not the question. The question is, what is Hamlet's best card? Well, Hamlet's best card is the Plays the Thing. It's a 3 value versatile that makes your opponent discard a random card, which is already a pretty good card. Most cards that discard random card from opposing fighters is a 2 value. Unless you're She-Hulk. But it's make them discard random cards 3 value. If you win combat, which if you're attacking and you're not to be, it's a 5 value attack. Or even just a 3 value defense is not horrible for trying to win combat. You get a recover health equal to its boost value. And that just makes it such a good card. Discard random card, healing equal to the boost value if you win. It's a great card. Titania. So Titania's best card. It's tough. She has a lot of decent cards. But her best card, I would say, would have to be the Gift of the Fair Folk. It's a very versatile card. You can use it to heal, move fighters around. You can use it to draw cards. And if you have your 1 glamour, then you also gain an action, which makes it an insane card when you can move and draw it. Move 2 fighters up 2 spaces each and then draw cards. Or you can just move them, heal too, if you want to use it as a pass, if you don't have that glamour. Or you can just heal and draw cards too. It's just such a good card, very versatile.